Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Up the Guts podcast. Joining you as always is your host, Trent D'Alton. And yes, it is the review episode where we'll review all the action from round 18. Apologies that I didn't get a preview episode out for the round last week before the round started. Just had something come up that I couldn't quite fit it in. I thought couldn't quite fit in a preview episode, so I do apologise for that. But we will be back with a preview one for this week as well, continuing as normal. But for now, this is the review episode, and as you guys know, if you are a listener, but if it's your first time listening and watching along, I'll let you know how we rank what we do. So first, we will rank each club's performances on a tier list. The rankings on the tier list are elite, contenders, decent, disappointing, and 5 a.m. St Kilda Beach. Those rankings are based on how each team performed in that round. So not the overall season, but how they performed in that round. Then we'll also go back and have a look at how the ladder is looking as we get to the back end of this season. So without further ado, let's get into round 18, the review of round 18 with the Thursday night action between Carlton and Brisbane. Let's go. All right, so Thursday night, Carlton v Brisbane, and it was the Brisbane Lions who won this one by 37 points. Again, Carlton just proven to be disappointing. 9-12-66, defeated by 15-13-37. Pitnett, the only multiple goal scorer for the Blues with 2 goals. As for the Brisbane Lions, finding a little bit form as of late is Charlie Cameron after having an underwhelming season to date. But the last few weeks, he's been a multiple goal scorer. He kicked 3. Morris is just getting better and better as he plays more. He kicked 2, and Rayner also kicked 2. Disposals-wise, for the Blues, Hewitt had 33, going at 82% efficiency, a goal and 9 clearances. Cripps also had 26 to go along with a goal, and Chera had 25. As for the Brisbane Lions, I really like this guy of halfback, and Wilmot cashed in with 31 disposals at 84% efficiency. Neil also had 31, 8 tackles, 6 clearances. Will Ashcroft, 29 and a goal. Dunkley got the best on ground, the inaugural Robert Walls medal for the best on ground performance between these two teams, obviously playing both sides. He had 28 disposals going at 82% efficiency, 13 tackles and 7 score involvements. Zorko, also off halfback, was enormous with 28 disposals, 86% efficiency and 635 metres gained. But the one thing that definitely comes into question for this one is Charlie Curnow's form. Now, I understand his marking is not his problem at the moment, and I know the delivery going into him is not great, but I think it's his own kicking that's really putting him on the back foot. His marking has been okay. Like, let's have a look here. He did take 6 marks and had 14 disposals, but again, kicked 0 goals too. That is not someone that's something we've known for Charlie Curnow to be a problem in front of goal. It looks like he's burning teammates sometimes, like when he wheels around, that we've become so well known from Curnow to do, when he wheels around when he's outside 50 and automatically he's not looking to pass off. We know he's done that, but he's not. But this time he's not putting them through either. So he's in a real big form slump, and the Blues, it just sums up the Blues season and how they are tracking at the moment. They're going horribly, and Michael Voss is definitely going to be coming into question. I think he'll be there in 2026, but there will need to be some big changes happening at that club. We mentioned Josh Dunkley. I wrote Noah Anderson, but it meant to say Noah Ainsworth, someone who probably goes underrated for the Brisbane Lions. He's a real battler, just plays those lockdown position roles, does his job week in, week out. He left the ground in the second quarter with an Achilles injury, so not really good there for Ainsworth, and someone who's a lockdown defender there for the Brisbane Lions. So thoughts go out to Ainsworth there. Brisbane Lions forward pressure was enormous, I thought, laying plenty of tackles and just not allowing the ball to get out as we go over and have a look at some of the stuff here. So when I'm saying Lohman, 4 tackles. Morris, as the big forward, 4 tackles. Rayner laid 3, but also had 22 and 2. So it's just their forward pressure. They're really coming into their own, the Brisbane Lions. And Zach Bailey got a 1-week suspension, which was quite interesting. If we go back and have a look, let's try and find it here. We'll have to go a fair way down because it was Thursday night. Oh no, that's the teams. Oh no, we'll keep going maybe. But yeah, he did get a week suspension. Just trying to see. No, can't find it. But anyways, he did get a week suspension. So someone who's been in really good form there. Zach Bailey's not great seeing. But for the Brisbane Lions, I'm going to put them straight in elite. I thought they were really good, especially as I mentioned, their forward pressure. And Carlton, just again, I'm going to put them in 5am St Kilda Beach. There's nowhere else really to put them, in my opinion. Now, Friday night's game was a real interesting one between the Suns and the Pies. It was the Suns getting it done in what ended up being a thriller in the end by 6 points, 10-9-69, defeating 8-15-63. King and Rao kicked 2 for the Suns. Elliott kicked 3 for the Pies. And Josh Daicos and Membry kicked 2 each. As I mentioned, Rao was huge. Did get a lot after Damien Harwick came out and said how players are going at Rao after he's come in, and especially after he's come into question with how he constantly gets contact with umpires. He put that under microscope that maybe we should watch how players are playing Rao. And what we know with the AFL, once a coach comes out and says that, they watch that player like a hawk, and he was a recipient of a lot of free kicks. This might just be the kind of advice to me, but some, they're probably there, but you just let it go as well. But he was enormous, I got to say. 32, 2 goals, 18 contested, 13 clearances, and 12 tackles. As was Noah Anderson, 32, a goal and 8 clearances. He's a smoky for the Brownlow, in my opinion. I'm not sure he'll win it, but he's definitely a smoky for a high finish. He just showed his first year as a captain and just showed his elite leadership skills and how much he can dominate play in that last quarter when the Pies were coming. He set up the first goal, then got the second goal from a clearance from himself, ran it through, got the handball back, and finished it with class. It was just pure class, and Noah Anderson, as I keep saying, is putting his foot down as a top 10, top 5 player in the competition. Noble also against his former team had 30 and 662 metres gained. Josh Daicos had 32, going 84% efficiency, 2 goals, 7 tackles, 5 clearances, 10 score roll, and 656 metres gained. Now, Josh Daicos, so Nick, Craig McRae said in the post-game press conference, we noticed that Nick hurt his ankle a bit and what Craig McRae said was Nick wasn't getting to contests as quickly as they would have liked him to, and as quickly as he normally would. So what they did instead, he started the last quarter on the bench and then played forward. And then they put Josh Daicos in the middle, and Josh Daicos had an absolutely brilliant last quarter. How's this for a generational last quarter? 16 disposals, 2 goals, 5 tackles, 4 clearances, and 6 score involvements. That just shows there's another trick that they can play. Another trick to the bow that Craig McRae can pull when they need to. Chuck Josh Daicos in there. He just makes things happen. 16 disposals and 2 goals is a huge last quarter. It's not like they nearly won the game off his dominance in the last quarter. So the Pies didn't kick a goal until 10 minutes to go in the third. It was a really tough watch as a Collingwood supporter, but Josh Daicos nearly single-handedly willed him over the line. It was a great performance by him. Speaking of Nick, though, he still did battle hard for 26, 6 clearances and 8 score moments. But one thing I did notice too was Gold Coast's pressure. They were just hungry to lay tackles and not let the Collingwood Collingwood players have easy possession or have time and space to create stuff like they like to do. So that was really noticeable watching the game. One of the key players that Collingwood would not want to see go down did go down, and it was Jeremy Howe who subbed off a groin injury. Jeremy Howe is such a crucial part to the backline puzzle for the Collingwood Magpies. When Darcy Moore was down and other players were down, he often plays that number one key position role as an undersized player. He can play lockdown. He takes the bigger opponents when he needs to. He just gets his job done. He comes off. He intercepts. He takes the big marks. He leads by example. So it's definitely not a player. One of the few players I think Collingwood, if you'd ask him, would want to lose going into a season. But as for the performances, I think the Gold Coast Suns go in contenders. I wouldn't quite say elite, and here's why. They were dominating the game but they still left the door open for Collingwood to come back in that last quarter, and especially late in the third. They should have, if I was to put them in elite, they would have put the foot to the throat a bit sooner and not allowed just that little opening of the gate for the Pies to come back. And it nearly cost them in the end, but they did hold them off, so they go in contenders. And I think purely for that fight back, it would have been 5am St Kilda Beach or disappointing, but I think I'm going to put the Pies in decent purely for the fight back that they had going into that. Now we go over to the Saturday games. Western Bulldogs v the Adelaide Crows at Marvel Stadium. And it was the Crows by 11 points, 15-8-98 defeat. Bulldogs defeated by 16-13, 109. Aaron Norton's really had a really good few weeks. Did he kick 6 last week? Let me just double check that quickly. I think it was 6. Then he kicked 5 this week. Where's the doggies? No, so he's kicked back-to-back 5s. My apologies. Kicked back-to-back 5s, and since Darcy coming back, it looks like Norton's really flourishing in it. He was really struggling under real fire. Questions about how he can lead that that forward line, but you got to give credit when credit's due. He's kicked back-to-back 5s, and he's marking absolutely everything that comes his way. We always know Aaron Norton's got a really good set of hands, but he's just putting an exclamation mark on that. 5 goals in back-to-back weeks. Well done to Aaron Norton. Darcy also kicked 2, and Richards continues his form with 2. But the big filthy Thilthorpe filled his boots with a big bag of 6. It's a career high for Thilthorpe. And just love the way he's building in his career. Fogarty also kicked 3. Dawson kicked 2. And Walker kicked 2. Bonton... Oh, fuck, my nose is itchy. Okay. 3, 2. Bontempelli had a huge game and nearly wheeled them over. He had 37, 12 tackles, 8 clearances, 10 inside 50, 6 goal assists. That's huge. 11 score involvements and 778 metres gained. Richards continues with 29, 2 goals and 7 clearances. And Liberatore also had 28 to go along with 8 clearances. Dawson was also huge for the Crows, leading the way. The Skipper, 27, 2 goals, 8 tackles, 6 clearances, and 2 goal assists and 12 score involvements. Curtin had another great game off a wing, 26 disposals, 81% efficiency, a goal, 7 marks, 8 intercepts, and 8 score involvements. I think he's found his role there as a high-marking wingman who can push back and intercept behind the ball, where he made his name known at waffle level, but then can also intercept, and then it can also push forward and hit the scoreboard. It's a threat that Matthew Nicks is using to his advantage these last few weeks and really liking the look of it. One bad note to come out of the Adelaide Crows game was, unfortunately, key defender Jordan Butts was subbed out in the second quarter and was taken to hospital with a suspected chest injury. Now, it's Matthew Nicks speaking on SEN to Kane Corns and Tom Morris today, confirmed that they're unsure. It was a punctured lung, I believe, in the end, but he was unsure of how it happened. No one really knew. He's recovering all well, and he'll drive home rather than take the risk of flying. So it was an interesting one there, but no one knows kind of what happened. And so it's a hard one to assess, they said, but he's recovering well. So I don't know when we'll see him, but I'm going to put the Bulldogs ranking-wise now. Going to put the Bulldogs... I'm going to put them in... I'm going to put them in contender. Contenders or decent? Decent or contenders? Decent or contenders? Who are the other guys? I'm going to put them in decent just because they need to be winning games at Marvel. Then they've failed another challenge against a top 8 team. Love just beating up on the younger teams, as Connor would say. But that. And as for the Crows, I'm going to put them... This might be controversial. I'm going to put them elite. Really like the way the Crows are building into it. They've secured still a top 4 spot on the ladder, so I'm going to put them in elite for now. Then we move over to GWS and Geelong at NG, and it was the Giants by 26 points, 17-9, 111 defeating 13-7, 85. And Cadman again filled his boots with 6 goals, including 4 in the third quarter. What an absolute game, and what a player he is building into. Former number 1 draft pick. They know key position players. Take a while to develop, and it looks like Cadman is starting to finally hit his strides after a couple of years in the system now. Stringer also showed up for 4, Green kicked 2. Shannon Neal's the only bottom of goal scorer, but he was really good for the Cats with 5. Whitfield in game 250 had 32 and 11 marks. Callahan, again, just dominating with 9 clearances and 8 score enrollments. Ash also had 27 and 8 score enrollments. Tommy Stewart was enormous for the Cats, though, and battled really hard. 29 disposals at 97% efficiency. That's huge. 9 marks, 13 intercepts, 8 rebound 50s, and 654 metres gain. And Bailey Smith had 26 and 6 clearances. So we mentioned the Cadman continuing his form, but the Giants are starting to come, and I'm going to put the Giants... I'm going to also put them in elite. I'm really liking the way the Giants are looking at the moment, so I'm going to put them there. And as for the Cats... Chris Scott was definitely not happy with the way they played, so purely for that, I'm going to put them in decent. Saturday night, Richmond v Essendon. I've put skip, shocking game. That is the worst game of the year by an absolute country mile. What the hell did we have to sit and watch? As soon as that Freo and Hawthorn game came on, I was quick to switch that over because I'm going to quickly skip over this game. Not even going to bother talking about it. We know exactly where they're going. They're going 5 a.m. St Kilda Beach. That's enough. Move on. Fremantle v Hawthorn at Optus, and it was... the Dockers getting it done by 13 points, 12-5, 77 to 9-10, 64. The returning Sam Sulkowski was enormous. The Dockers with 3 goals, just his running patterns and pressure. Bolton, a miss. Frederick all kicked 2. Deer also kicked 3 on his return. Really good stuff there for Deer. Looked actually really, really good. It's good to see him back out there. There's another key target down there for the Hawks. Clark off the half-back lines had a really, really good second half of this season. 31 disposals, 84% efficiency. Brayshaw was enormous, 29, 14 tackles and 6 clearances, as was Sarong, 29, 17 contested and 9 clearances. As for the Hawks, Amon had 30 and 693 metres gained, while Ginnivan again racked it up with 27 and a goal. We mentioned Sam Sulkowski was important on return, but Andrew Brayshaw post-game, geez, that was real alpha. Absolutely blood pouring from his head. I believe it was Sarah. Was it Sarah? Or Kath McLaughlin. It was one of them who were interviewing him, and they were saying, "Oh, I hope you're all right." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But then she's like, "I'm gonna cut this now and let you go get your head checked out." But that was real alpha, and it just shows how much this team means for him and how much he's willing to put his head over the line. The Dockers are still here to play come finals time. Really important win, but at the same time, I wouldn't be disheartened for the Hawks. Not many teams are going to be able to go over to Optus and beat Freo in Freo, and to only go down by that much, I thought was respectable. The only thing I'd question was Finn Maginness didn't have a tagging job. I believe he was even the sub. But I thought after what we've seen with the impact that tags have had on Caleb Sarong, that it would be a no-brainer to send him to Caleb Sarong. We've seen how much they impact when, I think a stat is when Sarong gets over 8 clearances in a game, Freo win. He had 9. They won. You've got Finn Maginness there, a quality tagger, and you don't use him. Bit strange, that one, but it's just not. I just think it's a bit strange, really. I thought it was a given that Finn Maginness goes to Sarong, but it didn't happen, and Dockers were there for the win. I'm going to put the Dockers in contenders, and I'm going to put the Hawks in decent. Now we go over to Sunday, Melbourne v North Melbourne at the MCG. Now we know North earlier in the year absolutely pumped the Demons, but the Demons got one back on them by 38 points this time around. 18-11, 119, defeating 12-11, 83. Melksham kicked 5, again doing it for the Demons, just kicking bags after bags is Melksham. Fritsch kicked 3 and Chandler kicked 2. Cooper Harvey was really good in his return after 700-odd days since his last game and a day after his 21st birthday. He kicked 4. Zerha kicked 3 and looked to take the game away in that third quarter, kicking 3 1/4. Darling kicked 3 and Curtis also kicked 2, all coming in the first quarter. Petrarca was enormous. Back to Petrarca, we know, 31, a goal, 7 clearances and 12 score involvements. Salem also had 25, 7 score involvements, while Langford was also solid, 24, 3 goal assists and 9 score involvements. McKercher, 29, 7 rebound 50s. Sheasel had 29. Daniel had 28. Parker had 27, 8 clearances, and Powell also had 27. But Jake Melcham just keeps kicking bags, and it's amazing how he just keeps on doing it. He's such an undersized key forward, but he's their number one forward at the moment. There's no doubt about it. And when you keep kicking, so let's go. If we go back here, so he's kicked 5 here. Where are we at? Melbourne, Adelaide v Melbourne. Kick 5 here. Kick 4 the week before. Melbourne. Kick 4 the week before. Kick 5 the week before that. 5 goals, 6. So that's already, 9, 14 in 3 weeks. They had the bye, and I believe he did one before the bye as well. I may be wrong here. Yeah, I am wrong. But it just keeps getting it done, and it's awesome to see at an older age now, but he's still having an impact. Sometimes I think Jake Melcham can go underrated, his quality of a player he is. Now, they did send the tag of Will Phillips to Cozzy Pickett. Cozzy Pickett got off the chain earlier in the game, kicking an early goal, and was just everywhere through the midfield. They did look to drop it after the first half, at half time. Cozzy ended up just still having 20 and a goal, but it wasn't an amazing impact. But that first part of the game, he was just everywhere, and I don't think Will Phillips could purely keep up with the speed that Cozzy was coming. Cozzy, since signing that contract, and this year, since playing a bit more midfield time, has just gone to a whole new level, and it's going to be scary for the next few years. In the AFL, watching Cozzy Pickett play. I mentioned Cooper Harvey taking his opportunity as well. Melbourne. I'm going to put that performance in contenders. I thought it was a really... or am I? No, I'm going to put it in decent. I'm going to put them both in decent. I thought it was a solid enough game to go on. And we got 2 more games left of this round. And the first one is St Kilda and the Swans. It was actually a really good game in the end. The Swans getting it done at Marvel by 5 points. 13-9-87, defeated by 14-8-92. Max Hall, I put him on the radar last week as a player I'm really liking. He kicked another 3. Sharman and Owens kicked 2 each. As for the Swans, no way. Have I missed... Oh, what have I done here? Lucky no one's watching there. I've just done some funny letters on my tier list. Have I wrote something wrong here? Or am I right? No. Jake Lloyd kicked 3. I had to have a second look at that. But Jake Lloyd and Hayward both kicked 3. And Jack Buller also kicked 2. Winhager didn't have a tagging job. They let him just run around on his own do his own thing this time. And he actually had 36 disposals, going at 89% efficiency, 5 clearances, and 8 scoring. Jack Steele was also enormous again, 25 a goal, 13 tackles, and 9 scorer moments. As for the Swans, there was no real big disposals getters. The highest was Goulden and Blakey, both with 23. Blakey also was going at 87% efficiency. But Errol Goulden just sealed the game. Pure ruck craft there from Grundy and knowing exactly where Goulden was. And for Goulden to finish off like that was just absolutely class. That's the difference between a really good player and a superstar, grabbing the moment and sealing games like that. We've seen all the superstars do it, but to do it under that high pressure was so good. Good watch. As I mentioned, Brody Grundy was ruck half, but he was huge against a 2-man ruck of Max Heath and in his first game, and Roll Marshall. He had 46 hit-outs, 20 disposals, 7 clearances, and 6 tackles. James Jordan did have the role in the side Wanganeen Malura from the first bounce when Wanganeen Malura started in the forward line. He went the second term, he went into the middle, and it looked to just drop off of the tag a little bit. Didn't have the same impact that he normally has, but did still have 24 disposals. So for this one, I'm going to put the Swans. I'm going to put the Swans in contenders for that performance and the Saints in decent. I just think to be able to finish off like that, Saints are always going to be hard to beat at Marvel, so I'm going to leave it at that. And the last game of the round actually ended up being a really surprisingly good game. Port Adelaide and West Coast at the Adelaide Oval. It was full of theatre, but the Power getting the job done in the end by 26 points, 12-15-87, defeating 9-7-61. Georgiades kicked 3, Horn Francis kicked 3, Burn Jones and Richards kicked 2 each, while Williams kicked 2 for the Eagles. As for disposals, Butters was huge, especially in the absence of Connor Rosie, who was subbed out with a finger injury early in the game. Butters had 38, 7 clearances, 3 goal assists, and 9 score involvements. Horne-Francis, again, huge, 27, 3 goals. If I get this right, I believe Horne-Francis had kicked 3, or did he kick his 2 in the last quarter? No, so he kicked 2 in the last quarter, yeah. But he had 27, 3 goals, 6 clearances, 9 inside 50s in 625 metres gain. And Wines also had 25, 17 contested and 10 clearances. Leading the way for the Eagles was Reed with 27, a goal, 7 tackles, and 6 clearances. But one of the talking points of it was Harley Reid versus Jason Horne-Francis, and it was just 2 competitive beasts going at it. It's something that we're going to see for the next 10 plus years. It was really good theatre, but I think it fires them both up, but I think it fired Horne-Francis up because at the end of the day, Horne-Francis was probably the reason that they won the game in the end. He kicked 2 crucial goals in the last quarter when the game still was really tight, but I think Harley Reid can still hold his head up high, played a really good game, but he's just a bit... what's the word? Undisciplined. That's the word I'm looking for. He's undisciplined. He gives away too many free kicks. Andrew McQualter actually commented on it after the game. That just gives away a bit too many free kicks. Love the way he goes about it. Love his competitiveness, but I think he just needs to try and clean up giving away stupid, silly free kicks. And other than that, he's going to be a superstar. But it's huge. But another positive for the Eagles is that they produced its highest scoring quarter under Andrew McQualter, kicking 6 goals, 3, 39 to 2 goals to the Powers, 2 goals, 2, 14 in the first quarter. So that's definitely a positive. I'm going to put them both in decent. Yeah, I'm going to put them both. So no one in disappointing. I'm just going to put them... Actually, I'm going to... Now I look at it. Oh. Sorry for anyone watching there. I've just dropped my phone onto my... Let me go back to Thursday night. Let's have pin it to... Who it do? I'm going to bump the Blues up disappointing. I don't think they should be in the same sentence as that Richmond-Essendon game. Well, there are my rankings. Now let's go across and have a look how the ladder sits after round 18. So, top of the ladder still is Collingwood on 56 points, so now only a game and a half clear after that loss. Second place on 50 is the Brisbane Lions. Then third on 48 is the Adelaide Crows, cruising along nicely. Then we have a fair few on 44. So on 44 in fourth is Geelong. Fifth and going up the ladder is Gold Coast. Going down a spot, Hawthorn in sixth. GWS going up to seventh. Fremantle going up to eighth. Dropping out of the 8 on 40 points is the Western Bulldogs. Then the Swans stay in 10th on 32. The Port Adelaide Power also in 11th on 32. Carlton in 12th on 24. Melbourne jump up a spot to 13th on 24. Essendon drop down to 14th on 24. St Kilda in 15th on 20. North Melbourne in 16th on 18. And the Tigers 17th on 16. And the Eagles just with the one win in 18th. Well, that's how the ladder's looking. Let's quickly go over and have a look how I ranked each team's performance, and then we'll wrap this episode up and get ready for the preview coming up to round 19. It's getting exciting as we get to the back end of the season now. But this is how I ranked each team's performances after round 18. In the elite category, I've gone with the Brisbane Lions, Adelaide Crows, and the GWS Giants. In the contenders, I've gone with Gold Coast Suns, Fremantle, and Sydney Swans. Decent, I've gone with Collingwood, it's a long list here, Collingwood, Western Bulldogs, Geelong, Hawthorn, Melbourne, North Melbourne, St Kilda, West Coast, and Port Adelaide. Disappointing, I've gone Carlton and 5am St Kilda Beach. I just had to leave the section on their own for them, for Richmond Essendon in the worst game of the year, without a question of doubt. Well, there you have it, guys. There are my review of the round 18 action. Thank you guys for listening. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it off to a mate or someone who you know might enjoy it, a family member, whoever that might be, a neighbor. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to leave a like and comment, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. And hit that subscribe button while you're there as well. If you're listening to this, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a like on this episode, like and comment on this episode, hit that follow button, turn the notification bell on so you're notified every time we upload, and please guys, as I always say, leave a 5-star rating if you do enjoy the show, as that does help push our engagement out there. Thank you guys for listening, and until next time, I'll see you guys then.